Hello, everyone. My name is Zhang. I'm from the Wikimi School of Communication and Information in Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. I'm happy to present my research on GCCRC International Conference 2023. So today I'll introduce my research about gay Singaporeans' use of hashtag on Instagram. And this study is titled Identity Complexity in Gay Singaporeans Hashtag Representation on Instagram. First, let's talk about the background of this research. So earlier this year, during the National Day of Singapore, the Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong mentioned he thinks the country is ready to repeal the Penal Code 3778. It is a law that criminalizes the sex between men in this country. Despite his mention and the official action to support the minority group, still over the decades, gay Singaporeans lack support from the whole society, from their immediate communities, and also from their family. And more importantly, the positive representation of this minority group is largely missing in the mainstream media. So lacking support and representation from the society, gay Singaporeans turn to the online spaces to represent themselves, express their identities, and seek social support. So this research looks at the use of Instagram of gay people, and this study is to improve the digital inclusion for this minority group. First, we look at the theoretical context of this research. So we use the theory of social representation to frame the whole study. So social representation refers to shared knowledge about an object within the community. So here in the current context, the social representation of gay people means how gay people share their knowledge in a certain group, for example, the gay community or in the online community, and represent their identity and information about their group. So as we examine the role of hashtag in social representation, we first need to understand the traditional roles researchers talk about hashtag. So first, most previous studies look at the index equality of hashtag. That means people use hashtags to retrieve or organize information for thematic content on the internet. And more recent studies also look at some self or social purposes of using hashtag. For example, people use hashtag to do self-presentation, to network with other people, and some people even use it to organize online activism or even for agenda setting. So our study takes a new approach to analyze the role of hashtags. We examine hashtags as an approach to creating the social representation of social groups. So why we understand hashtag as the social representation is because when people use a hashtag in the information they disclose online, they are actually providing self-related information, for example, about their identity. So in this process, as they exchange and share information about themselves and highlight their identity components using hashtags, it is an approach to establishing group affiliation and the group identity. Here is an example for us to understand, to look into the particular use of the hashtags. If you observe this photo, it is in the post of one of the gay Instagram users we analyze. So this photo is nothing special. And same here, if you look at the content, the texts he included in the posts. And if you observe the hashtags he used, there are several cues for identity. For example, he highlights his role as a wireless or as a Singaporean boy, and perhaps also a male model. But if you look at the orange rectangles, you see he also revealed his identity as a gay man. gay musician, and he's eager to talking about gay pride and gay feet, gay boys, and all those stuff. So observing this post, we can find that a gay man bears multiple identities at the same time. Not only gay identities, but also different roles and social identities he puts on. So here's the question: how do they manage their identity in generating a certain post or generating content on social media? And how this is to affect their use or selective use of hashtags? With this overall question, we need to start from an identity perspective of theory, and then we look at identity complexity of gay men. So in gay individuals' self-presentation, like everyone do, they provide self-related information to other people. But when they use hashtags, there is a high selectivity in choosing them. So we first need to understand the selective use of hashtags. And when they use, like in the previous example, when he used certain hashtags, he chose to highlight certain identity elements in his post. So in that sense, we can argue or we can understand gay self-presentation online as a process of identity management. So for the purpose of this study, we introduced a new concept of identity complexity, and which literally talks about each gay self bears multiple identities. So the idea of identity complexity derives from a series of identity theories, like role identity and social identity theories in sociology or in psychology. So role identity refers to people's identification with certain social roles, and social identity theory refers to people's identification with social groups. So overall, there is an overarching question like, how do gay Singaporeans use hashtags to represent their identities in the online community of Instagram? So to answer this broad question, we have two specific research questions. So first, what identities do gay Singaporeans represent using hashtags? And the second one is, what are the patterns in gay Singaporeans' use of gay-related hashtags? To answer these two questions, we adopted textual and image analysis. So to sample posts and accounts from Instagram, we conducted a two-step purposive sampling. The unit of analysis of our study looked at 12 gay Singaporean-owned IG accounts. In the open coding stage, we downloaded 2,337 posts in all. And after pre-processing and the filter process, we kept 910 posts with hashtags. And further in the analysis process, we focused on 324 identity-related posts. So in this in the analysis, the unit of observation ranges from hashtags, images, text, profiles, and other visible interactions like tagging or commenting. So the purpose of the open coding process is to identify emerging themes. And in the secondary coding stage, we aimed to summarize patterns of hashtag use on different themes. And also we compared the inclusion and exclusion of gay-related hashtags. So here are some preliminary findings of this study. So let's recall the RQ1, we asked about what other identities being represented. So through our analysis, we found gay Singaporeans, these users, use the hashtags to represent various roles and social identities. So of course, first of all, almost all of them actually all of them use the gay-related hashtags to represent their gay identity. And these hashtags include gay boy, gay Asian, or gay pride, and so forth. At the same time, except for gay-related hashtags, they also use different types of hashtags to represent other types of identities. For example, they represent their gender as a man, their nationality as Singaporean using SG boy, and also they show their occupation and also their family identity in their posts. One interesting example is a popular hashtag called Gunko. So it means gay uncle, and that means he has an identity in his family of being uncle of the younger generation. So we moved on to answer the next question. Is there any patterns of their use on gay-related hashtags, when they use it, how they organize it, and is there any occasions that they choose to avoid it? RQ2 looks at the patterns in gay hashtag use. So first of all, we identify two broad types of gay hashtag use. So the first type is purposeful, and a second type is habitual. So as you can see in the first image, it is a very purposeful use of gay hashtag to serve certain communicative purposes. And this tag, this post included hashtag of repeal 377A, and that's an online social movement that has been popular in Singapore over the years. But compared to this purposive use of hashtag, as you can see in the second image, they also include gay hashtags in any random posts they make. So the second post is a picture of one user with his friends on the New Year Eve. And actually the content or the background of this post has nothing to do with gayness or gay group, but also he chose to use gay hashtag to reveal his gay identity in this post. So comparing the two types of use, the purposeful and habitual use of gay hashtags, we can find different levels of selectivity, intentionality, and high or low context in using gay hashtag. Also regarding the patterns in gay hashtag use, one major finding of this study is to identify the joint use of gay hashtags and other types of hashtags. So first, these users use the gay hashtags together with non-gay specific hashtags. For example, they included gay, selfie, OOTD, that's of today. And these, the later two has nothing to do with gay identity, but they use the three hashtags in the same post. And the second joint usage of gay hashtag is to pair it up with non-gay counterparts. For example, when the user use gay couple, they also tag couple at the same time. And when they use gay feet, they also include the hashtag of fitness. And the third usage is to use gay-related hashtag with companies and media groups. So when they use like SG, gay Singaporean or any hashtags about their gay identity, they also tag some companies and media groups, and to establish a linkage of their group with larger social sectors. So number 4, so they also use gay hashtags and other minority groups. Like when they use gay, they also tag transgender, bisexual, and even some other social movement hashtags like BLM. And last, they use gay hashtags with Singapore and SG boy. It is interesting that the users have a strong tendency to align their gay identity with their national identity in making a post. Many of them like to use gay and SG boys together. So using all these strategies to align gay identity with other identities, we tentatively argue that the users are trying to negotiate their gay identity into larger societies or the online community. By left, we also investigated the selectivity in using gay hashtags. And then we found there is a selective exclusion of gay hashtags. So three main findings are that, so first, sometimes the users use heterosexual hashtags alone without a gay counterpart. Some of them, they posted their selfie with their boyfriends or a gay couple, but they use the hashtags like couple or anniversary. And second, sometimes they exclude gay-related hashtags when they post about some masculine roles. For example, on their photos of military services or about their occupation as a fireman, they never use the gay hashtags on these pictures and these images. And at last, as we expected, they seldom use gay-related hashtags in their family photos. And that means if there's anything about their family in this post, they kind of try to avoid talking about their gay part of self. So from the selective exclusion of gay hashtags, we can find that the gay identity is still kind of conflicting other social roles or identities in the Singapore context. In conclusion, through this study, we first confirmed the identity complexity of gay individuals as they generate social representation of their group in the online community. They represent different identities using different hashtags on Instagram. And second, we also found a tendency of identity management through their selective inclusion or exclusion of gay hashtags. And that's a signal for strategic representation of gayness in Singapore. And by using gay hashtags strategically, gay Singaporeans are trying to seek social inclusion in the online community. So this is pretty much about my presentation today. Thank you for listening.